Law of the bedroom number 112. When you have time, learn all you can about the female body. This won't take long, really. But learn all you can about the female body so you can become one with her heavenly design. You know, there's nothing more beautiful on earth than a woman's body. Connect that to her heart, her mind, her smile, her eyes upon you. There's nothing sweeter in thought, sweeter tasting, sweeter loving, worth caring for, defending and living for, than the woman of your dreams that one day you will call your own. So that said, let's take a moment to really study, observe, take in, and consume all that makes a woman truly a woman. Sexually speaking, there are areas of a woman's body, down around her love zone, that men must come to learn about if he is to make deeper, more understanding and meaningful love to her. Now, these are the parts of her pink, moist, wet love zone down there. And these are the, clinical terms, such as the mons, the vulva, the outer lips, the inner lips, the clitoris, the hood of the clitoris, the urethra, the vaginal opening, the perineum, the anus, the hymen. All of these different areas of that area should be learned about. Guys, just go to Google, go to a search engine, and look up female body parts related to the love-making area. The mons, which is the front of her body down close and around her love zone. The pelvic bones that come together to form her pubic bone, which protects the insides of her body. Her pubic bone has a little bit of fat on top of it, but don't tell her that. It's a small cushion. This area is called the mons, M-O-N-S. By the time she reaches puberty, pubic hair will cover the mons. Yes, pubic hair. Yeah. The vulva. Under the mons is the vulva, which is the name for all of the female parts on the outside of her heavenly body. Her vulva is like a rosebud, with the outer parts hiding the inner parts. How very lovely. The outer lips, the labia majora in medical terms, the labia means lips, are folds of skin that are the outermost layer of her vulva. They hide and protect everything within her wet valley of moist, wet, pink love. Yes. The inner lips, inside of the outer lips, are the smaller, pinkish, more sensitive inner lips, the labia minora. These lips are made of, mucous membrane instead of skin, like the outer lips, which makes them soft and moist, like the insides of someone's mouth. Like the insides of her mouth. Sweet to taste, kiss and lick, and stick, something, okay. The clitoris, the clit, is it? Coming up later. Where the inner lips join on her front top side is the clitoris. The clitoris is a small, cute little knob of skin, which you might call her little doorbell. She loves you to touch it. This is a very sensitive and highly sexual area of hers. Keep that in mind, because upcoming, there's a section in Laws of the Bedroom called The Clit Is It. You'll love it, and so will she. For your knowledge, though, the clitoris is made entirely for her pleasure. It has no other function but to help her climax and reach heights of sexual orgasm every time. I ain't kidding. I know this to be true 1,000 times over. The clitoris has been compared to a man's love handle, his member, his popsicle stick, joystick, rocket. And it too is designed for pleasure. Noteworthy enough, a man's joystick has a few more functions to do, while her clitoris is designed exclusively for one thing, her pleasure, which means, guys, our rocket, our stallion, has many purposes, but her clitoris has only one, pleasure. The clit is it. Keep that in mind. The hood of the clitoris, because the clitoris is rich with nerve endings, it is protected carefully by a little hood. which keeps it from being stimulated all the time. She could just be walking around and stimulating herself with just walking. That'd be crazy. Like, I can't. Yeah, okay, whatever. The urethra, below the clitoris, inside the hood and lips of her love zone, is the urethra, where she'll release her yellow golden shower and potentially shoot out other fluids of sexual excitement. Yeah, believe it or not. The urethra is a short tube which leads up to the bladder. Oh, also located just above the G spot. We'll get into that later too. The vaginal opening. Beneath her urethra, there is the entrance into pleasure. There is the entrance to her vagina, or vaginal opening, or what I like to call her hidden valley of moist, wet, pink love. Here's where your joystick can find all kinds of pleasurable sensations, and yes, for both her and you. Sliding your stallion into her stable. Landing your rocket ship into her space station. Yes, all the above. The perineum. The perineum, named for the space between her open, hidden valley of love and her cute little back door, or the anus. Sensitive to the touch, you can stimulate her here in ways she's never thought possible. The back door window, the anus. The anus is the ring of muscle at the end of her rectum, the last part of her intestines. Even though it is an exit opening, it's still lined with sensuous sexual nerve endings. Wow. Combine a moist, wet finger in or around this area with a little joystick injection, or your stallion in her stable at the same time. Two things, double plugging these two love zone holes. You'll take her into a whole new world she's never been. Go slow, though, and watch her reaction. Here's where she's in total control of your moves if you plan on venturing inside that backdoor love hole. More on this later, though. And then lastly, the hymen. The hymen is a membrane that partially covers the opening of a young gal's or a woman's vagina. Hymens do not all look the same. Most young girls break their hymens during childhood, often without knowing it from physical activities like running, jumping, and playing, and eventually from using tampons. If a female's hymen is still intact, she can stretch it for a few weeks prior to having intercourse to help pop this little barrier to her hidden valley of young love. Typically, there is a tiny bit of blood when the hymen pops, but it soon heals, and she's on to happy lovemaking for the rest of her life. Pretty interesting, eh? So, as you can see, it's important to know a little bit more about your gal in all aspects. The more you know about her, the less a mystery she remains to you. Just reading those different particular body parts down in that region kind of serves as a little bit of an education. Even I, who wrote this stuff, and of course, it's her created body that we're talking about here. So I'm only reading, what you might find in a biology book or something. But the point is, just reading this stuff again, going over it for myself, it's like, oh yeah. That's what the different parts are. Interesting. Anyhow, it's pretty cool. Hey, let's move on.